Hi everyone, it's Kelly here from Spiritual Awakening Signs. If you don't know me, I help people to spiritually awaken, embody their spiritual gifts and abilities and their higher self. And that's at any stage, no matter what stage you're at. Maybe you're just getting to the point where you are intrigued, you'd like to start awakening, or maybe you're already in that process and you're looking to make it easier. Well, we've got all the resources you need right here and we're happy to help. So today we're doing a video on the number one reason why your spiritual awakening is so painful or difficult. And I want to address this because I think it's probably something that we've all tried to work out at some point. I'm sure we can all put our hands up and say, I've Googled it. Please do let me know if you've Googled that. Why is spiritual awakening so difficult or so painful? We've all done it because it's a question that we're like, why is it so difficult? Why does this happen? Well, we're going to get into that today, and I'm going to make sure that by the end of the video, you're going to know exactly why that happens, what you can avoid, and how to make it much easier, because it just doesn't need to be that hard. So we're going to get into that today. So please say hello if you have joined us live. Let me know where you're from. I can see we've got Betsy with us already from Maine, USA. Fantastic. Hi there. And do let me know who you are and where you're from. And we're going to get into this video, and we're going to really have you understanding by the time this is finished why it tends to be so painful and difficult. Hi to Lily as well. Lovely. Okay, so yeah, let's get into the content on this. It's a pretty big issue. It's a really common question. Why is spiritual awakening so painful and so difficult? Let's get into it. So the reason why this tends to happen, and this is something that is not discussed, so the information you're getting here you probably won't find anywhere else. These are insights I've come to through my own experience and through working over the last however many years with clients. So it's something that I've developed and people don't really tend to talk about it. But really, the reason why spiritual awakening is so painful and difficult is that all your stuff starts to come up. So you're in a position where you're trying to get back to your higher self. You're trying to embody your higher self as fully as you possibly can. And that means that you're going to have to undo all the damage that's happened through all of your lifetime. So you've been learning lifetime after lifetime, all this little timeline, well, it's a big timeline of learning. Now is the lifetime where you're going to start taking all the information from that and kind of letting go of all the pain, all the faulty belief systems, all the negativity that holds you back, all the limiting beliefs. This is the time when you're getting ready to let that go. So what happens is your stuff starts to come up, your emotional issues start to come up, your past pain starts to rise up, you have negative beliefs about the world that start to play out, and it's like, there, you see, I told you, this is what always happens to me, and it all seems to kind of fill in that feedback loop of what we believe, limiting beliefs that hold you back, self-sabotage, even past life pain. All of this stuff starts to come up as we go through spiritual awakening because it's looking to be released. The point is that it's supposed to be released. So that's a natural part of awakening. People make out as if awakening is this, graceful process. It's not. On the contrary, when you're going through awakening, the further along that pathway you get, the more turbulent it's essentially going to be because you're clearing more things from your past. It's unavoidable. You must go through that process to get to the enlightenment side of things where things start to get a little bit brighter. So it can be confusing when that happens. But there's only one reason why it is so painful or so difficult, because what I want you to understand is, I'm not saying that awakening is ever going to be completely easy. It's not. And I'm going to tell you the truth on that one, because a lot of people say, oh, it can be all graceful and wonderful. It's not going to be easy. You have signed up for something that most souls don't do until they come to the end of all their incarnations. You've signed up to a pretty big task. It's not going to be easy, but there are going to be some challenges in it, because it's challenging to look at yourself. It's challenging to become awake and aware to all the behaviours you play out, all the things that you buy into, all the belief systems you have. That's a big undertaking, but it doesn't need to be painful to that level, and it doesn't need to be so difficult, okay? The number one reason why that happens is simply this. It's because your spiritual awakening is going too fast. Now, I'm going to break this down so we can understand what I really mean by that. But to sum up, the only thing you need to know about why it's so difficult and so painful is because it's going too fast. And I want you to know that it doesn't need to be that way. Does not need to be that way. We can change that. In fact, in this video, we're going to cover some things that will allow you to begin changing that straight away. It's not a prerequisite to spiritually awakening for it to be difficult and painful. So it's going too fast, and I'm going to explain this. Now, let me know if you're with me. Let me know if you're understanding the concepts that I'm bringing, and I'm explaining them well enough. And I'm just going to say a few hellos to people who have joined us. So hi to Ben from Colorado, Nada. Let's see, Lily's from England, fantastic. We've got Mary, hello, becoming a little frequent viewer. Thanks for joining us. I can see that Lily's talking about the energies get too intense and too much when we're not ready to feel them. Absolutely. Tanika, hello. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, I'm so sorry, but lots of gratitude back to you, and Chrissy as well. Fantastic. So we've got everyone with us. So let's get into why this actually happens. Hi to Michelle as well. So when we go through awakening, what happens is, this is how the whole thing gets catalysed and started in the beginning. This huge high vibrational white light energy moves into our space. It moves through the body, it moves into the energetic space. And what that does is it starts to allow the process of soul healing to begin. So when that energy moves into our space, it opens up this central column. See all the chakras that work up and down your central column? It opens all of that. So you need to imagine this kind of tube of light, just it all kind of opens up, right? And what happens is everything starts to come up. So first of all, you've got that connection to source. So this tube here, this light energy to source, is completely clear for the first time ever. You might still have some blocks to work through, but it's completely clear. So your psychic and intuitive abilities just go through the roof. Everything starts to amp up. But also all of this stuff down through the chakra system has opened. And what that means is that it's allowing you basically to unlock memories from all the chakras and all the energy points. So memories, whether you consciously remember them or not, you might not actually remember the visions or the images, but it's coming up. And it's all this past life pain, all these past life beliefs, all this upset, all these karmic patterns, it all starts to come up all the time. And you become really sensitive so that you can notice it when it comes up. And you become really emotional because all those emotions need to find their way out. So, you know, it can cause a lot of other things. It can cause us anxiety and overwhelm and lots of other symptoms, but they're kind of the main ones. So if you can understand that awakening does that as standard, that high vibrational light comes into the system, everything opens up in the chakra system, all the stuff starts to kind of come up for healing. It comes up so that you can notice there's a pain, there's something I learned in my past life. Not quite got the right belief about that. I decided that love is a lie, or I decided that people are evil, or whatever it is. And we start to inspect that stuff. It starts to play out in our lives, or it starts to come up emotionally within us. That's all fine. Not easy, but it's fine, because that is the awakening process. That's continually clearing these blocks until this central column is completely crystal clear and your connection to source is completely crystal clear. Then you're this divine channel, you're open, you're clear, you're sending energy effortlessly, and it's pure, it's very clear. So that's all great. The problem that happens is that if we don't know what to avoid and we're not really careful in managing our awakening experience, what can happen is we can become really ungrounded. Now I'm going to go into what you should avoid in a moment, but let's just talk about being ungrounded. When you're around any energetic stimulant, and by that I mean anything that affects your energies, so energy healing, yoga, meditation, crystals, incense, essential oils, all these things that we actually really enjoy as part of awakening, they start to become like a lit match to gasoline in our energy systems. Anything like that will really amp everything up, intensify it, and it will make your symptoms worse, because what it does is it brings more light energy into the system. And of course, the light energy we've got is already really intense. It's already throwing up all these emotional issues. It's already making things, it's making pain rise up from kind of the soul, the seat of the soul. And as that pain starts to rise up, every time you come into contact with another energetic stimulant, you're kind of giving it another boost. So what you're really doing is you're speeding the process up. You'd think that would be a good thing. Believe me, it's not. We're not ready for it. Like someone commented earlier, we're not ready for it yet. And it starts to speed everything up. So what happens is your sensitivity gets even more intense. Your emotions become even more intense. The emotional issues that come up within your system start, throwing out everywhere. So it's like you just can't get a break. And all those karmic patterns start to play out in your life looking for healing. And that's what really leads you to feel as if, oh my God, this is an awakening. My life is crumbling round about me and I can't hold on to anything. Please let me know if you resonate with that feeling that it's like, oh my God, this is just chaos. I can't handle this. It's because it's going too fast. And what I really want you to know most of all is that it doesn't have to go that fast. It doesn't have to be that intense. It doesn't need to be that crazy. Because what you can do is you can ground your energies. And in grounding your energies, what you're really doing is you're slowing that process down to something that's a bit more manageable. You're slowing it back down to the kind of rate that it's supposed to go at, that it's designed to go at, to be manageable and that we can cope with. When it's going too fast, we can't cope. Our anxiety goes through the roof. Our emotions become really intense. And it really can cause havoc in your life as all this stuff starts to play out. It's like, oh my God, now there's all this conflict. Like, why is this stuff happening to me? Everything's going wrong. Just bizarre things start happening that it's like, I thought I was awakening and things were supposed to get better, but my life is a mess. And my life is a mess right now. And then what we start doing is internalising that and thinking there must be something wrong with me. Everyone else is awakening and they're doing it with grace and, they're wearing white linen trousers and walking barefoot and, it's not like that. It's a much more grounded experience than people really would ever want you to believe. And we need to really acknowledge that part, because the more that we push that away and think that we're bad or we're doing something wrong by awakening being challenging, we're actually robbing ourselves of the opportunity to truly transform, because we're going back into denial. That's the asleep bit. We've already woken up. Let's not go back to sleep. So it's okay if you're having challenges, but it doesn't need to be as difficult as that. And I can see that a lot of people are resonating with this. I can see that Michelle's saying makes sense to me. Mary's saying yep, Beth's saying absolutely. So I'm really glad that you guys are resonating with some of this. Now, the way to make it easier, like I said, is just to ground your energies. Now that sounds like a really simple thing to do, but in awakening it is a path that you need to tread very, very carefully. And I say this not to scare you, I say it because I have seen not only myself but too many other people who are in awakening and don't avoid certain things, don't ground their energies, and it tends to spiral out of control. And that's when you're in that space where it's like, oh my God, my life is falling apart, I can't cope with this. Or you're even into spiritual emergence where you're starting to have all the worlds, the spiritual world and the physical world are blurring together, and it's just a whole mess. Just please don't do that to yourself. So we're focusing on grounding, but not all grounding methods are created equal. For anyone else, and I mean anyone who's not on the spiritual awakening pathway, grounding can work when they use grounding crystals, grounding oils, grounding incense, grounding guided meditations. All that stuff will work for them. But for us it's different, because when we're going through spiritual awakening, because of that initial influx of high vibrational light that came into the system to catalyse the awakening, we are really in a state where everything's too intense. Our energies are very volatile. They're very, very sensitive to any sort of energetic stimulant, so you need to be very careful. The problem that we have is that things that are created for grounding then have the opposite effect on us. So you think you're using a crystal that's designed for grounding. For anyone else, it's a grounding matter. But for you, the minute those energies interact with your own energies, which are already volatile, it's really aggravating and it starts amping everything up. And of course, everything just intensifies. So if it's already bad, it's about to get worse, because this central column's going to open more stuff's going to start to come up more quickly, emotions are going to be more intense, anxiety is going to be higher, your sensitivity is going to be just, your empathy will be so painful, and it just becomes completely unmanageable. Okay, so please don't do that. I can see we've got a comment here from Betsy, who's just telling us a bit about that. She says, I'm so happy to say that since I followed your advice over the past years, I don't have this anymore. Fantastic. Just some physical symptoms. I couldn't have done it without your guidance. I can't thank you enough, Betsy. Oh, you're so welcome, Betsy, and you've done great to follow the advice. And the thing is, it's not difficult, it's really simple. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, don't worry, we've got a free course that I'll link to at the end that will show you everything you need to do. There's no challenge, and that's very, very easy. But there are things that you're going to need to avoid. So if you are in that state where you feel that your life's falling down around you, it's really painful, it's really difficult, you need to take a break. You need to take a break from any sort of spiritual stimulant. By that we mean anything that is designed to affect your energy. So crystals, essential oils, incense, sage, meditation, yoga. You need to just think from a standpoint of, is it going to change my energy? Is it going to affect my energy? And if so, you need to take a break from it. Now, it can be a wee bit complicated, because then you start wondering, well, is this spiritual? Is that spiritual? We don't just mean general things in your home and space, but we want to watch out for the activities that you're doing that are spiritual, because they're going to make it worse. They're going to intensify those energies, and then you're going to be even more ungrounded than you were before. So we want to make sure we're just settling that down. So the best thing that you can do is refrain from spiritual practices like energy healing, yoga, meditation, prayer, anything like that. Try to take a break from that. I usually recommend about 2 weeks, but sometimes even 4 days can make a difference. We've actually got a review on our main website page, spiritualawakeningsigns.com. Someone who used these techniques and avoided for 4 days. She just avoided spiritual things for 4 days, and her symptoms got 80% better. So you need to really think about how massively this is going to impact you. It's just a couple of days, 2 weeks is excellent if you can do that. So take a break from spiritual practices. And you also want to move any spiritual items that will affect your energies out of your space. So things like crystals, essential oils, sage, incense, even orgonite, anything that you've got around your home that is in your space is interacting with your energy all the time, even if you don't realise it. So what you want to be doing is putting that stuff in a box and putting away the farthest corner of your home, or even in the garage, or even if you can give it to someone else for 2 weeks, just so that it's out of your energetic space, because your aura extends really far. It picks up on the energy around about. So we really want to make sure that we are stepping away from that. And that's what's going to lay the foundations. And then that's the most grounding thing that you can do. Then there are some other things that you can do. And you can get our free course. It's a 5-day course. It's completely free, and it's designed to transform your awakening. So if it's all chaotic and you want to get into all the fun stuff of awakening, we can do that together in 5 days. Completely free course at spiritualawakeningsigns.com. The link is in the description. Try it, just please try it, because that is the foundations that really is going to settle you and stabilize your awakening for all the other cool stuff that we're doing. So I do a lot of other activations and cool stuff. If you want to take part, you need to be grounded, and you need to be secure enough in your awakening and stable enough in your awakening that you can do all the other fun stuff. And I just want to make a quick note as well. I say to avoid energy healing and meditation, but our energy healing and meditations are safe. And the reason that they are safe is because I work with a series of high vibrational guides who actually actively adjust your energy as we're working. So when we're doing any of our energy healing meditations, because they know so much about the awakening process and they're supporting us on that, they will be very careful in the adjustments that they make. So it's really the only it's the only time you're going to be able to do energy healing where there's kind of someone watching out for the fact that it's going to unground you and trying to put that in place to make sure that it doesn't. Okay. Right, looking at a couple of comments, let's see. Lily says, so many of us don't show the messy parts as we fear spreading it and creating fear. Yep. She says she's been sharing some of the messy parts and have had people thank her because it gives them permission to feel okay with theirs. I think that's absolutely true. I think that we are almost a little bit ashamed that we're not like gurus already, and we start trying to hide all these human aspects of ourselves that are the other half of awakening. There's a spiritual half and there's a physical half, and it has to bridge together. So absolutely. And let's see, Mary says it gets to the point that you feel like you're losing your mind and you think that the people around you think you're crazy because you're I think that's hyperventilating all the time. It is. People don't understand why we get so intense. It's like we're doing all this spiritual work, but outside we're just like looking all chaotic and looking a bit irrational. And it is irrational, but it's very much, for us, it's the healing process that we're going through. Michelle says, I did stop spiritual practices last year. I didn't know why. The intuition was coming to you. You must have known this on some level. She says, my life was a mess and I'm just now slowly getting back into it. Fantastic. I'm really glad to hear that things are turning the corner for you. Oh, and Mary says it was hypertensive. She was mentioning hypertensive. Yeah, we're all in a real state of stress with this awakening. It's very challenging. But if you go and check out our free course, it is guidance that I share as often as I can, because I feel like everyone needs it as a basis. It is the foundation of your awakening, and it's just going to make things so much easier. 5 days, that's all it takes. 5 days together, and I'll send you an email every single day, and we'll get that awakening process leveled out for you, which we absolutely can do. So remember, if it's painful and difficult, it doesn't need to be that way. Grounding is the key to settling everything down, slowing it down, making it much easier. And there are things that you want to avoid, spiritual stimulants. You want to avoid the spiritual stimulants so that everything can level out and your system can be okay. Of course, you can introduce them again after 2 weeks. And also so that you know any of our products or any of the meditations we do online, the freebies and stuff, it's all safe. It's all kind of created with this in mind, that we do tend to get overwhelmed and overstimulated energetically. And of course, you can get the free course at spiritualawakeningsigns.com. It's on our main page, can't miss it, and you'll see some cool reviews and stuff there as well. So I just want to say thank you to everyone for watching live. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Even if you're not watching live afterwards, please let us know any of your feedback if you resonate with any of this. And of course, hit the bell below to be notified whenever we go live. And you can also subscribe to make sure that you don't miss any of our videos, because we'll be doing lots more. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching and have a great day.